Red Bull has found itself again in a situation the team has tried to avoid since 2018. Ever since the Daniel Ricciardo exit, their second car has become something of a curse. Year after year, they put promising drivers into it, and 6 months later, those drivers are often out the door. Now history is repeating itself. Yuki Tsunoda, who looked like a solid option at the start of the season, is falling apart before our eyes. And with him, the very structure Red Bull tried to build around Verstappen is starting to wobble. Tsunoda's promotion into the senior squad ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix looked like a vote of confidence, an advance on his path. And he began reasonably well. Quick laps, respectable races. It looked as if Yuki had finally grown out of his earlier inconsistency. But then things went downhill fast. He has now gone 5 races without points. Austria marked rock bottom. 2 laps down, last classified finisher, a penalty for a collision and a total collapse in pace. And at Silverstone, where he could have turned the page, he again found himself at the bottom. A poor qualifying in Britain, an invisible race. Tsunoda finished 15th, beaten not only by the top teams, but by a host of midfield contenders. Neither fight, nor strategy, nor weather gave him any chance. He simply produced nothing. No pace, no aggression, no progress. When the car was stable and the track familiar, he still fell out of the rhythm. This is not an episode. This is a systemic failure. Qualification results have collapsed, and that's on top of the fact he was never outstanding on Saturdays even in better times. In Austria, he lost by just 0.26 seconds to the benchmark. Yet that was enough to drop him out in Q1. The grid today is so dense that the smallest mistake or loss of confidence buries you at the back. And Tsunoda has more than enough mistakes and lack of confidence to be punished. Here's the core problem. Yuki is not just losing. He doesn't know where or how he's losing time. He can't read the data, and he doesn't feel the moment when things start to disintegrate. He says the car has a narrow operating window. At first, it feels predictable. But the longer he's in it, the less controllable it becomes. That's a classic symptom of a driver who can't adapt to a car's character. Particularly a car sculpted around Max Verstappen's style. Red Bull's current car is exactly that kind of machine. It demands ultra-aggressive inputs with a hypersensitive front end, a twitchy rear, and a platform that places a huge demand on the driver. Verstappen manages it because he has the rare ability to keep a car on the edge of sliding without losing lap time. Others break, and Tsunoda is no exception. Yes, he's been handicapped by a lack of fresh updates after the Imola crash, limited mileage, and the Austria penalty. But those facts don't explain the sheer helplessness. And the truth is, this is not the first time. Several Red Bull-era second drivers have fallen into the same trap. Gasly, Albon, and later, Sergio Perez. Talented drivers have become victims of the car, likening their time in the senior team to walking through a minefield. Perez himself recently recalled that in a podcast, and by rumors, he could return to the grid in 2026. Not to Red Bull necessarily, but to another team. His late 2024 statistics were dreadful. After a strong start, he endured 16 weak races in a row, scoring only 45 points across them while supposedly driving a top car. Red Bull renewed his contract after Monaco, but confidence in him faded, and the team eventually paid a settlement to part ways. Expensive, but Red Bull can absorb those costs. Today, Perez's critique rings true. The issue is as much the car as it is the driver. The current RB is blisteringly fast but markedly unstable. Built around Verstappen's feel, any other driver must accept that and drive in a rhythm that suits the car. Or push harder and risk mistakes. That's why Tsunoda, once considered ready for a permanent senior seat, now looks lost, drained, and possibly replaceable. The name of Isaac Hadjar is coming up more often. A young Frenchman making a fine impression in his debut year. But we've seen what happens to drivers Red Bull promotes either too early or too late. The channel Mir Avtosporta has a good breakdown of Hadjar's situation if you want more background. Hadjar is a classic product of Red Bull's junior pipeline. Prepared step by step, sometimes via DTM or Super Formula. Unlike some recent promotions that ended badly, this is a more traditional grooming approach. Hadjar understands the danger better than anyone. He openly admits he's not ready for a rushed promotion. He's learning from his predecessor's mistakes, and the most visible lesson is Tsunoda's suffering. Yuki has spent 4 seasons in Red Bull's junior second car environment. For Hadjar, that was supposed to be a map to follow. Yet Tsunoda's spectacular failure in that seat has left Hadjar in the odd position of scoring more points in the second team than Tsunoda did, albeit in different machinery. After the British Grand Prix, they asked Hadjar if a promotion talk was underway. He said no, but everyone knows how quickly things can change at Red Bull. If the team doesn't want to wreck his career, best practice would be to delay any jump until next season, when a technical regulation change might level the field. Honda may also have funded his seat through the end of the campaign. Mark has stated Yuki will remain with the team until year's end. But the old Austrian boss is not famous for sticking to decisions forever. There's another reason this story matters. All of this unfolds while the loudest rumors around the paddock suggest Max Verstappen could leave. He is officially tied to Red Bull until 2028. But a driver of his caliber who wants to move will find an exit if the team no longer gives him confidence. Problems with the car, the departure of key personnel, and unrest at the top. All of that chips away at stability. Mercedes is reportedly hesitating on Russell's renewal, leaving room for a potential Max move. If he actually walked, Red Bull would lose the one driver who can still extract results from an awkward car. Without a solid second driver, that becomes an outright crisis. If Tsunoda doesn't show immediate improvement, Red Bull risks losing vital points and structure in the championship fight. What looks today like a theoretical risk could be tomorrow's real threat. Finally, there's the human dimension. If you want to follow every twist and rumor, subscribe and help us reach 5,000 subscribers before the new year. Every like and subscription helps the channel grow, letting us make better videos with top guests about motorsport. Formula One is not only a sport, it's a story of tiny decisions, mistakes, personalities, and risk. We dissect it all here with you. This was Inside the Paddock. See you next time.